Hey up lads, it's your boy Manimal coming at you with the part 2 of this tutorial series. So in this tutorial series we're going to cover the modules what we've already placed more in depth, and also some of the other modules what are available to us in live more in depth. But before I start with that, I'd just like to apologise. I said I'd upload 2 videos a week. I hadn't managed to do that because I was really busy last week, so hopefully I'll reach that target this week. Another thing I want to say is that I host my own missions every Friday or Saturday every week. If you want to join in, there's a Discord link down in the bottom. If not, you can also follow my Twitch. I normally stream these. At the minute, we've just got a bit of the Altis Anti-Stasi mission going on the server. We've got that on there with some cool mods and stuff, so it's really good. We've got a few people playing that at the minute. So if you want to join in, Discord link at the bottom. PM myself or another admin, we'll sort you out and we'll get you in. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to touch on is the fact that we can actually change the factions in ALiVE to other factions. Am I in the right thing? Yeah. So if we go to this wiki page, so this is alive.com wiki index supported factions, but normally if you just type in Google ALiVE supported factions, it's the first page what comes up. So if we go on this page here, now these are all the factions supported currently by ALiVE. Some of them could be outdated, which I'll touch on now to actually update them in another tutorial using the OBAC creator. And realistically, you could import any faction you wanted to from any mod, and you could make it work using the OBAC creator. But again, I'll touch that on another tutorial video. So for now, I've just installed RHS. It's probably one of the more popular mods for armor. So I'm going to make this side the US Air Force. Is that right? No. It's just US forces, right? Yeah. US forces, and this is just going to be Russians. So what you're going to need to do, again, you're going to need to find this wiki page for the RHS factions. Excuse me. You're going to have to find out which faction you actually want to use. I mean, this is sort of a woodlandic terrain, so I'm just going to use USMC Woodland. So the WD stands for Woodland, the D stands for Desert. And then obviously USMC, US Army, like 2 different branches of the US military. So for this one, I'm just going to use the Marine Corps. Right. And then you need to go into your military AI commander. What I normally do is I turn the faction and I set it to none, just on the tabs, and then I put in override faction. I put in and then I just copy and paste that. Copy and paste. So you need to do that on your AI commander. You also need to do this on your placement modules. So the force faction modules, you need to put it in there as well. There we go, and then that's it. That should change your units to the Marine Corps if you want Marine styles or whatever you're using. And then we're gonna go back here. We're gonna get the Russian ones. This is the Russian MSV. I think, as I understand it, this is the sort of ground forces, and then the VDV is either, I think it's like Marines. And then the VMF, I'm not that sure on, to be honest, actually. So we're just going to do the same. Going to go into military air commander, override faction, RHS, faction, MSV. Jesus, can't find it now. Oh, force faction, there we go. RHS faction, MSV, force faction, RHS faction, MSV. So now this invasion force should be Russians, the occupying force should be US Marines. So if we hit play scenario, I didn't turn it off for the other. I mean, it doesn't conflict, really, because it forces the faction. I just like to turn it off anyway. Just good practice, really. So I'm still having the issue with the Zeus. When I move it into places, it doesn't actually spawn the units in, so we're going to use the handy mod Achilles to just TP me around the map to make sure that the units are spawning. I've got terrible hay fever ATM. So if I hit Y, go into Zeus. I mean, we can already see that people have been spawning in. I can already tell by these class names. That's just an Achilles thing, don't worry about that. That they're actually US Marines. I mean, if we just go and look at these guys here, for example. Yeah, they're US Marines. I mean, they've even got the vehicle placement there. Oh, we've even picked up some Mach 4 units. I've turned up the spawn radius again just to show me. Yeah, so the Op 4 have actually spawned in Op 4 units. Sorry, Russian units. I've turned up the spawn radius just so, because this isn't working. I think it broke with the new update. I'm not 100% sure with that. We'll just TP around the map a bit. Make sure everything's working as it should do. I'm not on the right thing there. Teleport. So you see with this, I can just TP my guy around the map and it'll just spawn. And then units will generate around this. As such. God, nice little roadblock there. Nice unit spawning up here. Yeah, so it's working, right? I mean, we'll just go and double check on the Russian side. I had an interesting question out of it. It's like a true invasion force, so the Russians only cap a small area, but I'll cover that in another tutorial video in the future. Just for now, we're just going to be doing this. I'm going to have to try and spawn somewhere where I'm not going to get my head blown off. It's just going to be a bit laggy because the way it's spawning in units, it's such a wide area. You see there's little patrols and stuff out here. These are Russian units. Yep, so it's working. We know it's working. Okay, return to Eden editor. Don't really need to do much more here now. So that's the more... I explained quite a lot in depth on the previous tutorial. The different things you can do inside these other placement modules. So I'm not really going to cover much more than that, other than the fact that you can actually change the factions you use. So the next thing I'm going to do is go into modules, go into ALiVE. We're actually just going to use civilian placement and civilian population to start off with. So we'll place these two down over here, have the way, place one down, place the other one down. Right. So we're going to go into the civilian placement module. Enable debug, we'll leave alone. TAOR marker. So what this is going to do is going to place down ambient civilians inside the areas we've defined. So what you need to do is you need to put in TAOR1 and then a little comma and then TAOR2, and then I like to, this is again, it's just good practice, I like to finish off lines with a semicolon. It's just if you know anything about coding, you should always end your lines with semicolons, at least in C++ anyway. End your lines of code with semicolons. So blacklist marker, we're ignoring. Objective size filter, yeah, ignore small objects. Objective priority filter, do not filter. Force faction, again, if we wanted to. I haven't got it installed, but with the cup, this basically brings all the units up from the other mod, from Armour 2. We can actually change the civilian factions to different factions, so you can see there's Pakistan civilians, civilian special, I don't actually know what that is. civilian shareners, etc, etc, etc. So I haven't actually got this installed for this tutorial, so we're just going to leave this blank. Well, not blank, we're going to leave it with civf in. Placement level, I like to turn this up to just medium. I don't think it really needs to go high because you get loads of civilians spawning. And then place ambient vehicles, I turn that to medium as well because it's quite a modernised place. There's going to be quite a lot of vehicles about and stuff, so modernised island. It's not like you're in the middle of a desert or something and it's a third world country, right? So that's it for this civilian placement module. We're going into the civilian population module again. So this is a lot like the virtual AI system. You can put in the spawn radius. I normally set this to the same one as in the virtual AI system. I mean, obviously, on my missions it's not 3,000, it's 1,000. I'm just doing that for the purposes of this tutorial, so I'm going to turn it up to 1,000. Spawn heli radius. I've never actually seen civilians spawn in helicopters, so we'll just leave that as it is. Spawn plane radius 0, active limiter 25. Right, so the hostilities I'm going to leave alone for now because we'll cover that in the scenario tutorial. Basically you change these for when you're playing asymmetric, which is the like sort of guerrilla warfare thing, and we'll touch on that in that video. Civilian roles, I like to turn this on sometimes just because you see like different people doing different things and stuff, so I always need to look at this because east, west. Yep, so we're going to put this on western because it's a western island. Well, it sort of is. I mean, it's Greece, but it's still considered the west, I'd imagine. Alright, so that's it for civilian placement. If we go back into game, play scenario, we should now have civilians on the map. Now, the way these civilians work as well, they'll sleep on a night time and they'll be really active during the day, like running around and doing different stuff around in the different settlements. So it's quite cool. Like, they all have like sort of jobs to perform. I mean, they don't actually do the jobs, but they'll like walk in between different places, like to simulate that they're actually doing stuff. That's how I understand it anyway. So. But on the night they'll go back to the homes and sleep and stuff. So we've hit Y. There might not be any spawn around me just because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. We'll just check. No. Okay. Let's move to a town. If we move to a town, there should be in there. I always click that thinking that teleport's in there, but it's not teleport. Simple as, alright, know that now. Ooh. So civilians should spawn. Should. Load that back up. Okay. Why no civilians spawning? There should be civilians here. Did I miss something? Scuffed tutorial video. Let's go back. Because civilians should have been placed by now. We'll go back to these modules, check everything's alright. Oh, did I... There's no reason why they shouldn't be spawning. Apologies guys, we'll just go back. We'll do not filter on the objective size filter on the civilian placement module. I'll just take out that semicolon actually because I don't know if it's conflicting at all. load back into game. And hopefully we should have civilians, dynamic civilians running around our map. Unfortunately these don't use vehicles. I think you can get something else for that when they'll just drive around. It'd be nice if ALiVE could actually implement something like that when people will get in vehicles and drive, say, in between towns and stuff like that. I don't see why this mod shouldn't be able to do it, considering it's probably one of the most complex mods out there, but we'll see. Oh, we have civilians. Guess this guy's just chilling in his hut. There's another guy somewhere. Oh, yeah. And these are just chilling, not really doing much. So, yeah. That's how you spawn dynamic civilians into your game. But just, we'll go to Pyros again. Players. Where are we? We're in. That might have been just because I had the filter on, I'm not sure, or it could have been the semicolon. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to put semicolons on the end of them lines, but... Ooh, look. Holy moly. Look at all these civilians. I mean, look at this guy's clothing. How cool are you? Right, so we know that's working now. We can return to Eden Editor and cover our next module. So that's civilian placement covered. What we're going to cover next, guys, we'll cover the close quarters battle. So you need to place this down. You need to actually sync this up to your civilian placement module. Right, go into it. Okay, enable debug, we're not going to use that. Persistent set, nope. Locality, I think that's new actually. It's on auto, but type, civilian or strategic. I like to put on this strategic, so it'll occupy strategic buildings rather than just anything. Anything and everything, so it'll hold strategic positions within towns and stuff like that. So CQB locations, complete map. So again, they'll hold strategic positions on the map, depending on obviously the priority the commander is given that place. So probability, right? So 2% might seem low to you guys, but it's actually quite high. I mean, obviously 50%, you probably find that like most houses have actually got people in them. I like to turn this up to just 10%. I don't think it needs to be much higher than that, unless you're playing something like what's the map called now? I don't even know, but like it's just basically a big town, and you'll just want all the buildings to be occupied, and you want people to be going through the buildings and cleaning them one by one. But I normally just turn this to 10%. I don't think it really needs to be that much more. Density. So, as it says, density of additional CQB placements, I just like to put this at medium. AI amount, so we've got solo, which will only place one air, AI in the building, pair, which is obviously 2 civilians, and then a fire team, which could be anywhere from like 4, well, I think the average number's 4. So I like to put fire teams in, or pairs, and don't really put solos in. So for this one, I'm just going to put pairs. Static weapons, you can also place these down. I just leave it off because if you get caught, I don't know, it's not very fun when you get caught by a static weapon. I mean, it keeps people on toes and stuff, but the placement can be quite weird sometimes. And they also place down motors and stuff, so I just leave it off. But I mean, obviously you can turn this on if you want it to, so you can have low, medium, high, very high, depending on how much static weapons you want placing, I guess. I mean, for the purpose of this, we'll just leave it on medium. But like I say, on my missions, I'll just turn it off. placement. CQB will determine the dominant faction or use static factions from the, yep, so we want dominant. Spawn ground radius, so again I put this in as the view distance. View distance I use on the AI, virtual AI system, so normally it'd be 1,000. Spawn LA leave 0 0 factions, so you need to turn this into the faction you're actually using. So we'll just go back to this faction page because I think I'd copy and pasted something else. US Marines Woodland is what we want. We'll copy and paste that in there. TAOR marker, so we want TAOR 1. Backlist marker. Now, nope. Right, so that should now place units in buildings. We can again hit play scenario. I don't really think I need. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show you the fire teams. So we'll just head straight over to Pyros, and we'll look at the different guys in the CQB buildings. When it wants to load. It's going to head straight over when it does this little thing. I don't know why Achilles does this, I'm not 100% sure, but it's whatever. And I'm gonna TP over there, so TP teleport, bang, bang. Oh, we're still over here though. Let's wait until things start loading up. We can already see the fire team's been spawned in. Wait up. I don't know if that's supposed to just be a patrol or no. No, it's been placed now. So what happens is the group gets placed and then it'll get placed on the like windows and stuff. So that's the CQB module working in the mission. As you can see, there's another bit of CQB going on here as well. And there. And that's not actually placing units down. Oh, we just heard a tank. Oh, yeah. This is why I leave tanks off, because you literally get free Abrams spawning and stuff, and to play against that it's not fun. Oh, just had an explosion. Don't know what the hell that were. Yeah, so that's civilian placement for you. Sorry, CQB placement. Working. You can obviously do this for the other faction, but you just need to change the faction name and stuff, but I don't think I really need to do it twice. Right, military IED threat. We're actually going to leave this for the scenario because it's not really going to be relevant to anything we're going to be doing in this tutorial video, so we're going to leave it for the scenario. Again, it's for the asymmetric stuff, the guerrilla warfare type missions, so we'll leave this off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add is the military air component commander. This has just been added in recently. I've just had to change the map up a little bit because I tried doing this earlier down at this airbase and it just weren't liking it, so we're just going to use this airbase up here for now. So what we're going to need to do is, obviously, we're going to place this and then we're going to sync it to our military air commander. So that's synced up. We're gonna head on in now. Right, so enable debug, leave alone. Persistence, leave alone again. I'll touch on persistence in another tutorial, probably be a short one, but I need to like read up on it a bit more before we start heading into that. Oops. Right, so faction, selects for faction for air tasking. Now this will only work for the faction in which has air assets. So, for example, in this video we're going to actually use the Army Woodland one, just because they have better helicopters and stuff. So they've got all these helicopters available. They can only use these helicopters. They can't use any planes. Say if we put down these planes and we wanted them to use them, they couldn't use them. Just anything air outside of this they can't use, but obviously any air inside of this faction they can use. So we're going to just head on back to ALiVE supported factions. Head on in. Right, so we need the US Army Woodland. Copy and paste straight into it. So faction RHS, faction US Army Woodland. Now, available ATOs, I'm actually going to have to read up on this, but this is the air tasking orders and in priority. Right, so a lot of these we can't actually use, but just because planes aren't available, so it's literally, I think Kaz is probably going to be the only one. Maybe we could use Reese, I don't know. But just to get a further explanation, we're actually just going to head on again to the wiki to just go through these one by one so you know what they are. So, ALiVE military stuff. Right, so air tasking orders cap. The military air component commander assigns a single fighter to establish a combat air patrol in the cap area in order to prevent ingress of any. So that's like just like an air patrol in the air. It has to. I'm assuming. I think it has to be a plane, a fighter jet, rather than a helicopter. Because whenever I place helicopters down, cap orders get denied. DCA, one fighter is held in reserve at the nearest airbase for defence counter, so that's just a reserve fighter. If the airspace gets penetrated, then they'll scramble this jet, say, and to intercept an inbound enemy strike aircraft, so it's interesting. Seed, suppression of enemy air defence. Mac will periodically strike aircraft to destroy enemy ground-based air defences, so that's sort of like it'll target AA positions and stuff like that. So secondary taskings are assigned by Mac in response to requests from military high commander for air support. These include CAS, close air support, pretty self-explanatory, strike bombing runs on specific ground targets such as key buildings, etc., etc. Reese reconnaissance, LCA offensive counter-air missions, so that'll be like against runways and hangars, exactly. So, and to reduce enemy air capabilities. So that's all well and good. Like I said, I think these aren't really available to us just because we haven't got any planes, fighter jets available to the faction, unfortunately. I mean, what we could do, we could just use the US Air Force faction, but then we wouldn't have any helicopters available, and I think I prefer helicopters than planes anyway. So, I mean, we'll just leave this for now. We won't take any out, but realistically, we could just take all these out. I'm not sure if strike will still work. I'm assuming it would, because the Apaches, what we're going to be placing, do still have rockets, so maybe they'd use them for the strike. I don't know. So airspace markers, this is quite important. You need to put in TAOR2 in there. Create HQ, yes. Place air assets. I'm going to leave this on no, and I'm going to explain why in a second. Place anti-air. I mean, if you want to do this, you can. Play generate player tasks. So I'm not 100% how this works. I think if you come in as a pilot class, then it'll generate tasks for you as a player. I will do some testing on this to see how it works. This is a very new module in the ALiVE thing, so I haven't really done that much testing on it. So I'm not 100% how this works. I'm assuming how it works is that you place two. Say if you and a couple of your friends just want to do air missions, so you'll place a couple of pilots down, place them as player and playable, and then what it'll do is it'll generate tasks to you and your friend. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Maybe it tells you in here actually. drops? No. Did it tell you? Oh, it's part of the C2ISTAR system. Right, I'll get that now. So I'll leave this off for now because we're not using that. I'll touch on that again in another tutorial actually because it's quite handy. Place anti-air, yes. So we're done in there for now. Right, so the reason I've placed air assets on this note, right? So when I first used this, right, what had happened is, for example, these hangars here, it'd place helicopters. Oops, it'd place helicopters inside of them. So I thought, oh, that's cool. Maybe they like tow them out or something like that. Nope, they just jump in and they go straight up, bang, straight to that, and they just explode. So you don't really want that. In some other airports, it might not be that bad. Like say this one down here, or this one here, or this one here. But with airport with hangars, I would recommend, unless you're using planes, obviously, then that's not an issue. Like but if your faction's got helicopters and stuff, it'll place them inside here. So you're just better off placing them down yourself. So the way you need to do that is, So the modules here, what this will do then is this will select this building. This is the HQ building for this component. So what we need to do next is place some air assets for this to command, because otherwise it wouldn't establish a base and you wouldn't get any close air support. So we're going to grab 4 of these bad boys, the Apache helicopters or AH-64Ds. Put them down. We're going to then want to highlight them, connect, sync to. Now you're going to need to sync these to the virtual AI system. This will profile. Apologies. This will then This will then profile these helicopters for the faction to use. So the virtual AI system will talk to the AI commander and say, okay, you've got these assets available. And then the AI commander will talk to the military air component commander and say, look, you've got these assets available, let's use them. So that's basically all you need to do. I accidentally earlier just deleted my guy. I'll just place another guy down. I like to be very picky. I'm going to go more sock. Element leader. Player. Play scenario. So what will happen then when we get into game is that the military air component commander will spawn in pilots. Not into the vehicles themselves, but they'll spawn into a building and do something quite cool, which I'll show you. They'll not come on straight away, so we'll have to wait a second for the military AI commander to actually give a command to the air component commander to do one of the air tasking orders. When it wants to load. So if we hop on into Zeus, for some reason that Apache's turned around. Do not place it right. Oh. Right, so you can see the things we placed down here, the Apaches. Just waiting for the game to load currently. Shouldn't take long. All call signs. This is Broadway, USA Army, Woodland, Forward Airbase, established at grid 145, etc. So this is this building here. It's just spawned some pilots in. If we can try and zoom in, just slow down. Alright, so we've got pilots, yep. This is how you know it works. If it doesn't work, it says all call signs. This is Broadway, Forward Airbase, not established, no available air assets. So that's when like you're placing stuff outside of the faction. We can change this using the allback creator, which I'll just show you in a future tutorial video because it's something what I need to touch on itself on its own. So if we just wait here now. Right, so you're going to see it's just called cap, but because we haven't got any planes, it's going to get denied by the air component commander. Right, so we've just got some CAS orders from the military air commander. This is going to respond to this. These are going to get called now to go into these helicopters. Now watch what happens. It'll deny one of them because we've just got quite a lot of requests then, so, and we haven't got that many helicopters to deal with them all. But now that's the alarm bell ringing. This signals the pilots, much like in real life, to run out to the helicopters, mount the helicopters, take off, and go and follow out the requests for CAS. It's quite a cool feature, I guess. We'll just watch them get in and take off. He should start spinning up anytime soon. There we go. Now, because this might seem a bit weird, because they're all coming out like now and jumping in, it's because we received like 4 different CAS requests for CAS at the same time, so they're all going to get scrambled. Sometimes we might only get like one request for CAS and it'll only scramble one helicopter, but for this one, because we've had like 4 requests, it's going to scramble them all and off they go. Hoorah! So that's the military air component commander. Pretty straightforward, to be fair. Again, it's a new feature of ALiVE. I think it's probably one of the most coolest features they've added in a while, so it's good to see that they keep continually developing the mod and stuff. So right, so guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, please subscribe, please join my Discord channel if you're interested in doing missions. I'm desperate for some new people to come and join me and my friends on some missions, and that want to bulk us unit out a bit more, so hopefully I'll see you around. And that's it. Manimal out.